How you doing, guys? And I'm late on for a couple of weeks on my weekly videos, and this topic has to do on budget equipment. And gear snobs often snub their nose on cheaper value equipment. And the way I buy things, I tend to buy them on an intermediate priced scale. Occasionally, I may go a more expensive option if I believe it's worth it for the money, or even something much cheaper if I believe the quality is good enough for the price. So it all depends. And this viewer basically said, commenting on this author's video, or excuse me, topic, and which is number 3, don't skimp on audio. And he's saying there should be a bare minimum for the quality you get. And he mentions Rode audio microphones, which I've got one, and I believe they're great microphones for the money. And I could see me buying some more in the future. Now, some of their stuff is, once you get into their stereo microphones, can get more expensive, but it all depends. On the most part, it's more budget mics, which I like, Rode Audio. And so he basically says these are kind of junk, and he even gives a 4-letter word describing them, and then gives alternatives that are thousands of dollars more expensive. And to me, the most important part of audio is got to be clean, it's got to be clear, and the viewer's got to be able to hear you. Those are the most important aspects. And most viewers aren't going to care, or as long as they can hear it, isn't going to care about the quality. And most aren't even going to perhaps be able to tell the difference between a very expensive mic and a budget mic, depending, depends on how you look at it, of course. And to me, it's not the tools that are the most important. What is the most important is what you're trying to get across, the storyline. And I'm talking this in the aspect of if you make videos, films, documentaries, or whatever. That's the most important aspect. So don't blame the tools for, what you're trying to do. And another aspect I'm going to talk about is not just audio, but video as well. And I'm going to give you several examples. And the Blair Witch Project, which is really hit the market. I think this is back in the 90s, and they actually used consumer camcorders to make their entire film. In fact, they went to Best Buy, they got it out for 30 days, and they returned it to get their money back. I guess their budget was so low. Yet, when it showed in theaters, it was probably one of the best, the most money-making film ever, just to show you that it's not always the tools, it's how you go about using those tools. I'm going to give you another example, Crank 2, which was the main actor on that was Jason Statham, and they actually used budget consumer camcorders, and I think they also used some prosumer as well, which is more expensive, obviously. And to give you an example, they use a lot of these, which are very small, they're inexpensive, and a lot of what they did for that movie they couldn't do without these consumer camcorders, because for one thing, they're small size, and they actually had rigs where they had all these cameras, these small cameras on a rig, and if they used regular size cameras, it'd be too bulky, too heavy for what they're trying to do. And just to show you, it's not always, like I said, the equipment, it's how you use them. And this is my feeling on audio mics, and the most I've ever paid for a mic is, I think, $300, $350, which is actually this one right here. And most of my mics are in the $200-$300 range and below. Even for lenses, I happen to be using for this was Canon C100, and it's the video we're watching right now, which actually uses a $1,000 lens. I decided since I'm getting C100, I needed at least one good lens. I also needed a prime lens, And I went ahead and chose this. They call it a Nifty 50. Now this is version 2, and is a Canon EF 50mm f1.8 STM, and you can get these for about $125. Now version 1 I didn't particularly like at all, because the build quality was very poor. It uses a plastic mount, and this one obviously uses a metal mount. So to me, it wasn't really worth it for the money. Now, once I found out they had version 2 out, I'm like, I have to get one of these because the build quality was much improved, as well as the features, that it was more than worth it to get one of these lenses. And even the 1K lens I have on there right now doesn't do depth of field very well. It's a f 4.0, so I can't really get very good depth of shallow depth of field shots. But this one right here does it wonderfully. Plus, it works much better in low light. And so I wouldn't have any fears of using this lens in any of my filmmaking or videos, even mixing it with the $1,000 lens, because it actually takes, for the price, it actually takes very good video or pictures, depending on what you use it for. So those are my thoughts on, you know, using budget equipment. It can be very viable solution. Like I said, it all depends on the build quality and the price. I mean, like I said, you can find something within your price range, but yet it is kind of junky. It falls apart. Plastic pieces fall off. Obviously, you may not want to get it, so you have to search around. Find something that fits your budget and that fills your needs. I think those are the two basic ones. So thanks for watching this video, and hope to see you next week.